What happened to the 9th generation of gaming? I already know the answer.
Where are the games at? Where are the games? Where are the games?
No! We already in the game! We're bringing out the PlayStation 2. Bombagla!
Communicate with the others. You see, by default, Halo and...
Ooh! Oh, shit, yo! Full disclaimer before we get stuck in, I already know this video is going to be valid because I am a gamer. Like, I do like the game and I do not own a single 9th generation console. I have a PS4, a Switch, my PC, my 3DS. Usually I get every iteration of PlayStation. I've had the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5 was the very first time that I said to myself, what's the point? Especially if you have a PC. So let's see what the video got to say.
Where are the games at? Where are the games? Where are the games? It's dry. Where are the games?
Awkward.
I don't see anything.
Yeah, where are the games at?
Most pointless upgrades I've ever experienced.
What is the point of buying a console if you can just make a PC?
Dead ass though.
Everything on PC. Why not just buy a PC and then come?
I literally just said that. Like, what's the point in having a whole new console if you can have a PC that's way stronger and can play more games? Like, and it has Discord. Like, Discord is the game changer on a lot of this shit.
Why buy consoles?
Literally.
Something's happening with video game consoles. They've changed from machines people couldn't wait to get their hands on to machines people couldn't wait to forget. After weeks of digging, I boiled down every problem the 9th generation has down to 3. So let's break them down, starting with the most obvious of them all.
Price?
The games.
Okay. Oh yeah, the games. No games.
See, every console generation is measured by one thing and one thing only.
The games.
The games. The 360 had Halo 3,
yeah.
The PlayStation 3 had Uncharted, and the Wii had the Wii Sports tennis game that broke all of our TVs.
Oh, jeez.
But unlike the previous generations, the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X technically have way more games than any other console in history.
But they're all multi-plat.
New indie game releases.
Hey, Pal World, I didn't want to pause right there and then, but I sunk some ungodly hours into Pal World in the span of just 48 hours, and I'm not proud of it, but I did it, and I haven't played it since, man. Yo, I played that game till I was physically sick. I was addicted, man. Me and one of my friends, we were locked in, man.
Games didn't play well, then there's a pretty good chance it's been completely remade. So then why does this generation feel like it has nothing? How does that make any sense? Well, the answer starts getting more clear when we look at every hit this generation's had so far.
Okay, let's see what we have here. Hold on. We're gonna hit pause. So these are all the hits. Are there more? Okay. Okay, let's pause. I'm gonna give my educated guess before he starts because, you know, your boy is kind of a gamer. So Spider-Man 2, yep. Final Fantasy Rebirth in 16. So I haven't played those two yet. They're still on my bucket list, but I don't have a PS5, so I'm waiting for the PC versions. We got Last of Us, Returnal, Demon's Souls still on that hit list. Damn, Alan Wake 2. Bro, like the 360, I'm just taking this in. Not the... I'm so like not up to date. The Series X, sorry. They only got Jedi Survivor, which I think you can play on PC, I could be wrong. Halo Infinite, Dead Space, and Diablo 4. Whoa, the Xbox is like, damn. And then even on the PlayStation side, it's like, it's good to see Final Fantasy up there, but damn, there's a lot more RPGs we could be pushing to the front. We got Baldur's, Ratchet. Honestly speaking, it's not a bad lineup. But the problem is, I think this has been the best for a long time. I feel like there hasn't been more to this for a long time, but this as itself has a decent balance.
Do you see it? Hold on. Let me remove every game that was made primarily for the previous generation. Now let's remove every game that's considered a better playing experience on the PC. And last but not least, let's remove every remake or remaster of an existing game. The list is dramatically small.
Okay.
If these games tell us anything, it's that there's something in the water at Insomniac and we gotta protect them at all costs.
They love me.
But this generation's games are actually a bigger problem than you'd think when we compare them to the previous generations, specifically the Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii generation.
If he would have said PlayStation 2, GG's, there's no comparison, man. The PS2 The PS2 was shitting games, man, on my name. That bitch had at least 500 plus. No comparison.
The 7th generation of consoles objectively had worse development tools, worse hardware to build games on, less people with skills to build them, and less documentation to learn from. I mean, these consoles released before social media was even a thing. Yet here's the games they released during the same amount of time as the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X.
Woo! Okay. Hold on. Now let's talk about it. We're going to go through what I actually owned on this list. So I had Little Big Planet, Mario Galaxy, Brawl. I had Ratchet & Clank Future. That was actually my very first Ratchet & Clank, and it got me into the whole series. And that was it. That's the only games I had from this. My brother had, I had GTA 4 as well. My brother had BioShock. So, and this is why I didn't have some of the Xbox games, because I had a sibling that had what I didn't have. So he had Mass Effect. He had Dead Space, Fable. He was big on Fable. So even though I didn't own some of these games on the list, he had Gears as well. I saw all of these games on the list. It was an interesting time. I don't think it was better than GameCube, PS2 era though. I could be wrong, but me being a big JRPG fan, it was just missing a lot. Some good games though.
Wild, right? You see, back then, every game was made solely for that generation of consoles without remakes, and you could forget about a PC port back then. I mean, that just wasn't a thing.
Yeah, no PC ports for anything.
Just getting started. Blizzard makes
oh my god.
every decade, and Microsoft is pushing the insanely buggy games for Windows Live.
Disgusting.
Look, these games technically aren't telling you the full story. While most of these games are critically acclaimed, it's what they did for the industry that...
We have Burnout Paradise as well, and A Creed. Sorry about that.
The 7th generation so special. For example, Gears of War revolutionized third-person cover shooters, cooperative story, and the brown color palette that every game used for a lot longer than they should have.
Really?
Wii Sports revolutionized motion controls made accessible for a brand new casual audience. Technically, because of the Wii, anyone could play games now. Rest in peace to all the TVs out there.
True.
And back then, Call of Duty actually revolutionized FPS controls, multiplayer progression, and 60 frames per second as a
60 frames on Call of Duty?
Multiplayer.
50,000 people used to live here.
Wait a minute.
Part of me was like, I feel like that's an FGC. I could be wrong, but wouldn't the FGC also be like heavy on frames having to be spot on for competitive play? Because I know like Third Strike and all that shit, I think they were at 60 plus with the cell shaded. But I mean, I guess for FPS, they revolutionized it.
What's more insane is that the publishers that absolutely dominated in the 7th generation have completely bombed in this generation.
Next generation gaming!
Warner Brothers was on top of the world with Batman and Shadow of Mordor, but then they released
Batman was dope.
Suicide Squad, a game that nobody wanted. Nobody.
I didn't even look at that game.
Assassin's Creed, but then launches their quadruple A game Skull and Bones to crickets. Like, that game came out 2 months ago and no one's talking about it.
Bro, I didn't even know Skull and Bones existed. That's still out, or did they take it off stores?
Probably half off. Activision revolutionized multiplayer gaming with Call of Duty, a grounded military game, but now this is Call of Duty.
You could be the king, but watch the queen conquer.
Yeah.
Why is Nicki Minaj in Call of Duty? Also, Microsoft, you know, the single biggest video game publisher in the world right now? Well, they launched Redfall completely broken, Starfield
I was looking forward to Redfall.
Lionhead Studios completely fired, laid off 4 more companies.
Okay, let's talk about Tango. I haven't played Hi-Fi Rush yet. It's still on my bucket list, but I heard nothing but praise for this game, man. And it was a ninja drop. That's the thing. It was a shadow drop. So I was very surprised that they closed down the studio. I was thinking this is like one of the new eggs in their basket, but only the Lord knows, man.
Making of this video.
You what?
And released 3 buggy, incomplete Halo games in a row. And they all hurt quite significantly. So here's the $1 million question, if not $1 billion. What the heck is happening with video games? Well, you
Good
see,
question.
The simple answer that gains a lot of social credit these days is making games is hard.
Expensive too.
Making games is hard.
Using my personal experience in the software development field, I've been doing it for like 10 years, I can't argue that the process is difficult. That these companies seem to have no idea what people actually want to play. And
The disconnection is ungodly, bro. I've never been more baffled than with video game companies, man. Like, money is such a concern for them, but at the same time, they sit on all these gold eggs. Like, you got IPs that people salivate over for years, man, but you keep keeping it tuckered away in some damn abyss, some alternate dimension, and just repeating the same games. I'm looking at Capcom. I'm looking at Square Enix. Listen, these niggas got mad games, man, but they hardly release them because they ain't taking no risks. It is what it is, though. You gotta move safe, I guess, when it's all about money now.
When we look at the games through that lens, we can start to see why we're getting so many remakes of games that were so successful before, so many live service Destiny or Fortnite clones, and why so many games are made for the previous generation with a higher install base first instead of the new consoles we spent $600 of our hard-earned Canadian money
600 Canadian.
Guys, maybe we start building for them. Just throwing that out there.
Canadian dollar is fucked.
No one thought the Xbox One was going to make it 2 years, let alone 11.
Yo, they just need to hang it up and take notes from Papa Nintendo, man. Forgo high fidelity or just forget about realism, man, and just make a bunch of games with artistic vision. That's how you're going to get quicker releases, more memorable stories, and the game's going to age well, too. You know how many games from the early 2000s I could still play right now and say, yo, this looks fantastic?
Yeah, that's true.
Come on, man. I don't need to see everybody, the damn hair follicles and all the pores. I just want to see some damn good art and call it a day. Fuck.
Just look at what's popular in the mod scene and you'll get a hit. It's actually surprising how little companies do this. I mean, it worked for Dota, it worked for Team Fortress 2, it worked for Battle Royale, it worked for Counter-Strike, and all the gaming companies are like, we should make a Fortnite or a Destiny clone.
They got Kaby Lame and Fortnite?
What the fuck? Why? Money! But unfortunately, the lack of next-generation games is just the first problem. Because these consoles make playing games...
The gameplay. Got it. That's the next one.
How is my timing that bad? So let's say you get a brand new console. Here's a simple question for you. What should it do? It sounds simple enough, right? It should play video games, of course. But there's actually something else that I'm sure you'll remember after this.
That's my GameCube, man.
The GameCube, then that just didn't work. But what about the Xbox Series X? Oh, it's just an Xbox One, but I guess it's faster now.
I see what he's saying. He's talking about like there's no startup, there's no sauce, there's no character, there's no identity. You just fire it up, and then there's your menu of games. When I booted up the PS3 for the first time, I was expecting something like PS2, whoom. And now what was the PS1? PS1 was... No, I'm not even going to try that. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
$100 wasn't enough to cover the ads either. Now, in fairness, when you boot the PlayStation 5, Sony says, hold my beer. That is like every single PlayStation merged into one super PlayStation.
God damn.
Every second of it.
That was great.
What happens when I pop in an extremely expensive 90 Canadian dollar next generation physical game from this incredibly sad and empty plastic box into each console? Yeah, the game needs to install gigabytes of data or download larger and larger patches before you can even get a chance to play.
Yeah.
So then you think to yourself, well, okay, I guess while I wait the mildly frustrating 30 minutes for this game to be ready, I can just, play one of the digital games that I already own.
Listen, if you know, you know. Gran Turismo 4, was it Gran Turismo 4 on the PS4? Gran Turismo, and y'all know exactly what I'm talking about, man. It was. If you had Gran Turismo 5 on the PS4, that bitch damn near took like 4 hours before it was installed, man. I'm telling you. I'll never forget that. That was one of the longest installs I've ever experienced, and that's when I initially started hating modern gaming, man. I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to put the disc in and spark up a damn match.
So, for the Xbox Series X, I found my original Xbox from over 20 years ago. The idea is simple. On the original
that shit
Xbox,
was massive.
I'll try to play Halo Combat Evolved, a 20-year-old game. Then on the Series X, I'll try to play Halo Infinite to see which console lets me play the game first.
No, we already in the game. We already in the game, bro. Murder.
Well, that's depressing, but you might not be convinced. So I repeated this same exact test with the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 2. On the PS2, I'm gonna play Ratchet & Clank Going Commando. And on the PlayStation 5, I'll try Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. So this test was really interesting because even with 4K graphics, Insomniac somehow loaded Ratchet on the PS5 in almost half the time. But unfortunately, what you don't know is both of these consoles needed their games to be pre-installed ahead of time just so they could compete. Now remember, each of these consoles is playing a game that's pushing their hardware to the limit, but only the previous generations actually let me play the games immediately, and
no install, man.
What would happen if these newer consoles weren't connected to the internet? Like, these things have way more power, they have way faster hard drive speeds, and yet I can just play games faster over there. Because you see, in the 9th generation, the games are worse, the play experience is worse, and in the Xbox
What's
Series
the final
X's
one?
case, it barely tries to do anything to trigger any form of nostalgia. I mean, who's launching the Xbox Series X 10 years from now being like,
oh man, the Jurassic World Dominion ad on the front dashboard that I paid $600.
He ain't lying, man. Like, whenever I see the Dreamcast boot up, when I see GameCube, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Xbox, that shit sends me back in time, bro. That's like a mental wormhole. I can't lie to you, bro. That shit takes me out of the present for a solid 10 minutes. I can't lie, man. I almost feel sad that a lot of people won't experience that or don't even know what we're talking about, to be honest. Like, when you owned a PlayStation, think about this. Not PS5, PlayStation. When you own it, when it was damn near new. And then they say, but wait, we're bringing out the PlayStation 2. Bomba, bro. Think about that age, man. That was a great time to be a gamer because it's like you didn't know what was coming. Now you kind of expect it. You expect the new Xbox. You expect the new PlayStation because there's history to it. But back then, we didn't know if the next one was going to be PlayStation 2. Damn, it could have damn been Sony Xperia. Sony Universe. When they said the PlayStation 2, man, and I saw that shit, I couldn't believe it, man. The future was now. And then they said the Nintendo GameCube? After the Nintendo 64, what the fuck is this? It even had a whole handle on it? And the most shocking one was Xbox, because it's like, wait, there's a whole new Microsoft console in a world where it was just Nintendo, Sega, and Sony? Boom. But anyway, let me stop yapping.
Here's the question. If the modern gaming experience boils down to a list of games that are slightly better versions of the previous generation's games that constantly require downloading and or updating, then why not just play games on the PC where the games look and run so much better and I can actually do something else while I wait for my game to download? The truth is, most people wouldn't, which is exactly why we're seeing a dramatic surge in the popularity for PC gaming instead of console gaming that was traditionally always the place.
And everybody damn near has a PC nowadays.
There's one more reason why people are moving to PC away from the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, and it has to do with the way that these consoles treat people.
Wait, what?
You see, when it comes to video game consoles, there's actually two different eras of communication. The offline era, where you actually had to visit your friends, hang out, bring over a giant CRT TV, and the online era, where you have friends lists, parties, and wonderful messages awaiting you.
Every single person who watches your videos are fucking stupid.
I'm actually nostalgic for it. But somehow the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 online community feels like an absolute ghost town where there's technically millions of people playing, but no one ever talks. So, let's go back to 2000.
Bro, I know what he's gonna talk about. If you don't mention SOCOM, I don't know, man, but I know what he's talking about. Back then, I remember specifically the Xbox 360 as well. Voice group chat on Xbox 360 was popping off, man. That shit was a vibe. That shit was a vibe. Everybody was yapping.
To see just what the heck happened.
Wait, Is 2007 considered this old now?
You want to play Halo 3 with your friends and your 360 hasn't red ringed. What are you to do? Well, first you need a microphone to communicate, and thankfully Microsoft graciously includes a pretty decent quality mic for the
Ooh,
tiny
I remember the
Xbox
mic.
360. That means
I remember
anyone
that.
and everyone who has a 360 can communicate online right out the gate. So how do we go about communicating? Well, it is 2007, so communication software is... I'll be blunt, it's terrible. The communication software may have been total garbage.
Yeah. Skype in call.
But the software in these consoles were actually magnificent. You see, it had friends lists, a private party
Chat?
system that worked across any game, and like I mentioned before, some of the most wonderful voice messages you could have ever hoped for.
I see you. I'm gonna fucking your face wide open, yeah?
Like I said, 2007 was a different time. But what about the game itself? How did we communicate with the others? You see, by default, Halo and...
Ooh, oh shit, yo. Oh man. Oh man, bro. Nah, this brought me some joy just now, man. Like seeing this, like whenever I think about peak video game voice chat, I'm thinking about this exact image right here. It has to be Halo. Obviously, SOCOM, for me, SOCOM kind of pioneered the voice chat vibe, but Halo perfected that bitch, man. For me, all my fondest voice chat memories, group chat, Halo. And this menu here, this was like the seasoner, man. This was the prep for the chaos. You got everybody talking mad shit.
Every other multiplayer game let anyone with a microphone communicate openly. Lobbies were active, parties were well indicated on screen with an icon, and proximity chat was always turned on by default.
You don't need communication.
That's how you win.
Push.
You don't need
Just
communication.
push.
Mind blowing, I know. Every single person you played with could be spoken to just like if we were playing sports in person.
It was crazy.
Community. But now let us forward back to the present day to see what the new consoles can do. Okay, so it's 2024 and the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X have a few small differences. Despite being more expensive, the consoles no longer come with microphones.
Next generation
True.
gaming!
Sony technically provides one embedded in the controller itself, to be fair, but unless you play like a complete psychopath, it's probably not going to gain mass adoption.
Isn't it great that we can just talk right through this controller's mic?
Yeah.
You don't do that. That's weird. Next comes
Yeah, that's kinda
communication
goofy.
software, and it's pretty much the same as before. But while this sounds great on paper, it's actually pretty bad given that it's been over 15 years. You see, companies like Discord have streamlined the way players communicate, and the
Yep.
consoles really haven't tried to keep up. The only innovation I could think of was that the consoles did technically add Discord integration, but in fairness, using Discord on a PC or a phone still feels infinitely better than the watered down version we get on the Xbox Series X.
And that's the thing, man. Discord changed the whole communication game in gaming, man. Like Discord makes my Switch way more enjoyable because you could just hop in a Discord chat and you got team comms, man. Discord is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
But okay, what about the games? How are they handling communication 15 years later? Well, let's use Halo again as an example to showcase the 15 years of innovation. And the reason I use Halo is because, quite frankly, Halo 2 and Halo 3 were revolutionary for really promoting communication with
It was, man.
Each of these games kind of pushed things forward. Proximity chat.
It was.
On the pitch game, dude. On the pitch.
Pre and post game lobbies, that all kind of stemmed from the Halos.
He was like, dude, it's like 5 a.m. where you are. Go to sleep. And I just
No longer has pre and post game lobbies and hasn't for over a decade.
See, and that's what I'm saying, man. Like the pre-lobby when you were queued up, that was when it was good. That was the good shit, man. Like that was the precursor to all the shit talking. Everyone like, yo, look at this bitch ass nigga. They used to say some wild shit, man. They'd be roasting your damn gamer tag and all sorts of shit. Trust.
No longer has proximity chat. It does, however, support text chat between console and PC crossplay.
Oh, I never used that.
So that's cool. But they completely block all forms of written or spoken communication with the enemy team entirely. And unfortunately, every game seems to have seen that and decided that rather than figure out a system that works for different communication styles, it's just easier to block everything completely so no one gets hurt.
What you just said is one of the most insane
Different time period.
I have ever heard.
It's as if you played a game of basketball outside, but no one was allowed to talk to each other, and the only way you could talk to your team was to stop, pick up your phone, and then text them before.
No shit talking. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Sure, I guess technically no one has a chance for harassment in that case.
What did you say, punk?
It kind of loses a lot of the humanity in the process, don't you think?
It does.
I love video game consoles, their reveals, their launches, and what they do for the industry.
Some form of connectivity is called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360, that's your message?
Each one defined a specific part of my life, and I'm pretty sure it did for you.
Damn,
guys,
bro.
But the honest truth is that the 9th generation consoles are just overpriced, poor gaming experiences, where the games are held back by less capable machines, corporate greed, and a censored online environment in a world where if I spend a couple extra
He ain't lying.
$100, I get all of that and more on a PC. The market is basically being forced to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid if these problems continue, video game consoles we know and love will die slowly in a wasteland as nothing but a memory.
Damn. Hey, you know what I can respect? The Switch ain't in this. The Switch ain't in this because the Switch in its own lane, man. The Switch was that person that listened to Noah. They built the damn ark while the rest of the world getting flooded right now. The Switch on the boat. We cruising. Damn.
I hope
Hey,
you enjoyed
man.
the video. You're beautiful. You're goose-tastic.
Thanks, bro.
And as always, keep it cute.
Thanks, bro, man. That was a fantastic video. Honestly, I'd be down to watch more of his stuff. I won't even lie to you. I'd be down to watch more of his stuff. This is Zenkai Goose. Not Zenkai Boost, Zenkai Goose. I respect this, man. Very good video. Honestly, he ain't lying, man. 9th generation, it kind of took a step back. Gaming kind of lost its soul. I only really feel the magic of games through my Switch, man. Like, the Switch is the only one pushing creative ideas and just sticking to the magic of what makes games interesting to me. I don't mind playing different genres. Like, I'm not big on sports games. I'm not big on shooters. Granted, I do play a few. You know, I was on my Overwatch bag for a bit. Halo, obviously, I played a lot of Halo. But I try to stay far away from the realistic shit because it's like, if I'm playing a console, if I'm playing a video game, the whole point is for it to be a fantasy experience. Like, why am I playing a video game to do what I can do in real life in the game? You know what I'm saying? So I've never been like big on the sandbox and realistic stuff. So I'm a JRPG guy, platformer. If I'm playing sports, racing or anything, it has to have like fantasy aspects to it. It can't be legitimate. So like a Mario Strikers instead of FIFA, or like a Inazuma 11 kind of thing. Or if I'm playing a shooter, then like Splatoon or Overwatch. Like, I'm not gonna play a video game if it's realistic. It defeats the whole damn purpose. And I hate that that's like the majority of the gaming space nowadays. Like, back when, yo, I won't even lie to you, man. I used to be gaming before gaming was even cool, man. Dead ass. I used to be gaming before gaming was even cool. Literally, you play a video game, people gonna talk shit about you. Legitimately. And it's crazy. Like, back then, like, everybody was into, like, first it was like the shmups. Everybody was on the side scroller beat 'em ups. And then the 2D side scrollers came around, the platformers. And then we went 3D platforming, 3D fighting, RPGs. I forgot about RPGs, 2D as well. And then we got to the 3D RPG, and then turn-based started evolving. And then we eventually got to action RPG, shooters got better, racing. So it's like, yo, I'm yapping, man. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but all in all, a great video. I'm looking forward to seeing some more, but I hope you had fun watching this as well. I know it was a long reaction, so I'm gonna hop on out. But y'all have a great day, man. I'm out of here.